Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another Tiermaker video. Now today is a little bit of a different one. I've asked you guys on Instagram to send me your favourite video games of all time, in which I'm now going to rank them in Tiermaker. So of course remember that this is only my opinion. I know video games are quite a hot topic in terms of people are very attached to certain video games, and you know, it's not going to be nice to hear me shit on your favourite video game if I'm not a fan of it. So just remember, it's just my opinion. I can also understand why some people would like different games, but it might just, not be for me. But here are the tiers. So the top tier, we have Masterpiece. So it would have to be something pretty damn good to be in Masterpiece. It'd have to be perfect in every single way with next to no flaws. That is what it has to be for me to be in Masterpiece. Amazing is the next one. Of course, that would obviously just be a really good game. It'd be an amazing game. In the middle one, it is decent, so not too bad at all. Okay, nothing too special. Next one, rather than putting sort of like pretty rubbish or something like that, I put overrated, because a lot of these games that have been sent in, I can understand why people would like them, but they might just not be for me. So I've put overrated. Now for the last one, let's put absolutely terrible. Like, really bad. Yeah, I don't need to swear, do I? To explain that I don't like a game. Shit. Now, first and foremost, we have Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. Now, for me, it's a brilliant Mario game. For me, I do love Mario games, but not as much as others. I appreciate them. I do think it's an incredible game. I loved playing it. I think it was really fun. And to be fair, I'm not going to put it in Masterpiece, but I am going to put it in Amazing. I know Mario fans would definitely see that as a masterpiece, but for me, it just didn't. I don't know what it was. It wasn't as good as previous Mario games. There's other Mario games in which I've actually preferred to this one, but it's definitely an amazing game. I really enjoyed it, and it was very fun. Mario Odyssey, graphics beautiful, storyline was decent. Some funny moments in it as well, and it was just an all in all enjoyable game. Particularly the new mechanics within the game. You can use your hat to sort of take over enemies, and you could become the enemies, and you could do different little techniques and powers with them. It was a very interesting and it was a very enjoyable game. It was really fun, and it kept my attention, which is something you'll find is a big factor within this video. When it comes to video games, it has to keep my attention because I've got such a small attention span. But yeah, Mario Odyssey, the first one, that is going to go into Amazing. Now next up, we have a really big hitter, and that is Skyrim. I mean, I've always loved the Elder Scrolls series. Oblivion was brilliant. It's an open world game in which you'll soon find out, that's my kind of game. I love open world games, and Skyrim absolutely masters it to a T. Oblivion was fantastic, but then Skyrim is just another level. And there's no wonder, it came out in 2011, and it still holds its own amongst other open world games. Graphic wise, it's still fantastic, it still plays brilliantly, and obviously, of course, the storyline itself, that's decent enough. But there's just so much to do other than that, and even today, every now and then I'll stick it on, and there's still things I haven't discovered because it's such a massive game. So that is going to go in Masterpiece. For it to hold its own for so long, and for it to still be an enjoyable experience 8 or 9 years after its release, it definitely says something. So for me, Skyrim, absolute masterpiece for me. Next up, Borderlands. Now, I know there's going to be a few touchy people with this one, because I know I was actually speaking with someone the other day about Borderlands, and I didn't realise what a huge sort of fan base they do have. But Borderlands for me, obviously it was just my personal opinion. I played the first Borderlands, I played the first one, and I played that with a friend, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Then I played the most recent one, and I played it by myself, and I played through the tutorial sort of part, and then within about 15 minutes, I'm not going to lie, I was bored. I was so bored. It was just kind of like repetitive little quests, and for me, it was just I was just quite bored. And like I say, it's an attention thing. It really didn't grab my attention, and it couldn't keep hold of it. Do you know what I mean? And and then when I hear other people talk about it, I think, well, what are you seeing that I'm not? Do you know what I mean? So for me, rather than put absolutely terrible, like really bad, shit, I'm going to put it in overrated, because I think there are a lot of people who obviously do really, really big up this game, but I just don't see it myself. You know, I can see the way people talk about it and I think they're describing a completely different game here. But for me, Borderlands, I do think it's overrated, unfortunately. I know a lot of people do love it. I know that might piss some people off, but for me, I just got bored of it. Next up, an N64 title, BanjoKazooie, and I'll just have to say that has to go straight into Masterpiece, because I think it's just an excellent, excellent game. At its time, it was such a unique game. You sort of you visit different worlds. The whole overworld is basically this tower, the witch's tower, which is obviously the sort of main bad guy of the game, and then you're making through your way up this tower, and there's different rooms with different sort of worlds within them, and then you need to go and collect jigsaw pieces, and it's sort of like your gold star from Mario, basically. But and then you make your way to the top, and then you eventually fight the witch. But it's a really, really good concept, and it's a really, really enjoyable game. It's another really fun one. I've actually played it recently on my Xbox One. Recently downloaded it again, and again, it's one of those where graphically it doesn't stand its time, of course, but it's just such a fun game, and I absolutely love it. And I'm still playing through it now, and I think it's excellent. But next up, we do have Watch Dogs, which is quite a surprising one for me. I think the first one was absolutely excellent. Absolutely loved it. Dabbled in the second one and thought it was shit, which is a shame, because I think the Watch Dogs, the first one was, it was so different. It's something that we'd never seen before. You'd had this device in which you could hack into everything. There'd be lights, or there'd be people's phones, ATMs and stuff like that, and you could hack into almost everything you could possibly see, and it was something we'd never seen on a console before, and I was absolutely in love with it. But the second one just let it down. I just didn't enjoy it at all, whereas the first one, I couldn't put it down until I completed the game. So I'm going to put it in decent, because I think the person who did suggest this one actually labelled it as the Watch Dogs series. So if it was just the first one, I probably would have put that in amazing, because for its time it was brilliant. But the second one just let it down. So I'm going to put Watch Dogs in decent. And next up, we have Minecraft. Now, Minecraft, I'm not going to lie, it's a game that I've never really got too into. I've dabbled in it and I've tried it, and it's just another one where, I just couldn't really get into it. As I know it absolutely took the world by storm when it was first released and it first came out. I have family members, my cousin was absolutely enthralled by this game, and he wouldn't leave it alone, and he'd create amazing things. And I do like creation games. I like games where you build and you make stuff, and I know Minecraft is obviously more about sort of crafting, but you can create and build whatever you like, really. And I could see that attraction, but then when I gave it a go, it just didn't hold my attention, unfortunately, and that's the be-all and end-all of it. So for me, Minecraft, I'm going to stick it in overrated, because I don't think it is as good as what people make out. I know people do still play it, that's fair enough, but for me, I think it's overrated. And next on the list, we have The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And if you haven't played this game in your lifetime, then where the hell have you been? Because for me, this is a masterpiece. It's one of the greatest games of all time. When I was younger, I had an N64, and that's where a lot of my games were played. It was only from when I was about 10, 11 maybe, when I started to change into like PS2s or PS3s and Xbox and stuff like that. But originally, I was always a Nintendo lad when I was younger, and I think a lot of people were, because for me, personally, I think Nintendo, they do create the greatest games, they create the best games, but there just isn't enough of them, and that's why people don't buy, or, enough people don't buy Nintendo consoles anymore, because they have sort of like 2 or 3 standout titles, and then they just kind of drift away to other crappy titles, if you know what I mean. But, I'm going off topic here, but The Legend of Zelda it was such a huge thing of its day. It was completely different. They trialed something that no one had done before. It was almost like it was an open world type game, kind of an open world to an extent, and it had never been trialed before, and it was absolutely excellent. And it was the first 3D Zelda game, and it was truly amazing. Absolutely loved it. And it recently come out for the 3DS, in which I went through it again and loved it just as much as I did back in the day. So yeah, fair play to it. It's a fantastic, fantastic game. And next up we have GTA 5. GTA 5, the best GTA so far for me. I think it was absolutely excellent. I know a lot of people would say that they have different GTAs, that would be their favourite, but for me, I think the story was very good. Graphically, of course, it's beautiful. And although I do think that Rockstar are absolutely just, you know, they're really milking it at the minute, because rather than just giving us like proper DLCs or a new GTA, they're just constantly throwing on extra shit for online mode, and it's just, you know, just give us a new GTA, which hopefully they are doing soon. But, you know, all in all, I think it's fantastic. I think the characters are brilliant. Trevor, for me, is one of the best characters ever. I absolutely love him. You know, and it is a really enjoyable game. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I do think it's amazing, so I'll put GTA 5 in amazing. Next up, Roblox. Next up, the first game that's going to be going in absolutely terrible, like really bad shit. Because I did dabble in it temporarily, and it really is just crap to me. I just thought it was crap, but honestly, again, it's one of those games where, and I see it when I see some YouTube gaming videos, I think, yeah, that looks really fun, that. And then I dabbled in it myself, and I was just like, no, it's shit. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, apologies to people who do like the game. I personally just think it's shit. Now, another GTA game, we have San Andreas, which for me, I know a lot of people love this game. And they say it's the best GTA of all time. There's obviously, I think there's more memorable moments in this San Andreas than any other. I'll definitely give you that. There's so many quotes and little pieces from this game that people take even today in real life, and we just have a laugh about, you know, certain quotes within the game. And it was a brilliant game. There's so many extra additions and things you could do in this game that you couldn't do in previous games like Vice City, and I really did enjoy that. I'm not going to say it's a masterpiece because I don't think it was, but I am going to put it in amazing because it is an amazing game. But next up, we have Far Cry 3, and, you know, I think this is just me being biased because I do really enjoy the Far Cry series. I've played every one. Far Cry 3 for me was absolutely incredible, and I am going to put it in masterpiece, which is probably me being a bit too over the top there, because it probably isn't a masterpiece, but because it was the first time where, you know, at the point where Far Cry 3 came out, all I was playing really was FIFA. Nothing else was grabbing my attention at all, and I remember just picking it up and I just thought, oh, I'll give it a whirl, see what it's about, and I did not put that game down, and I need a storyline to keep me enthralled with it and keep me attention on it. Do you know what I mean? And this game storyline got me so sucked in, and it has to be said that I believe that Far Cry 3 has the best video game villain of all time. It's just so well voice acted. The character created were just amazing, absolutely amazing. It was a brilliant game, and it just had me hooked, and I've been playing every Far Cry game ever since. So yeah, Far Cry 3 for me personally, in my head and in my heart, is a masterpiece. Rocket League. Now, with Rocket League, I've actually only got this on the Nintendo Switch. I did dabble in it a little bit on the Xbox, but at the minute I only have it on the Nintendo Switch. And again, it's another one of those games where I can see why people would enjoy it. It can be quite fun, but again, it's one of those that I get bored quite quickly. And I suppose it's one of those where you actually have to be really good at it to be able to get full enjoyment from it. I don't think I'm necessarily bad, but I'm not amazing. And there's just a lot of sort of, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of waiting around in it for stuff to actually happen. It can become a bit of a mess when you're playing games with it. But how people go on about this game, you know, as if it's the best thing since sliced bread, I really don't know. So I'm going to put Rocket League in overrated, because I think it's okay. I don't think it's good enough to just go indecent, because I think people have such misperceptions of it. But again, it's my opinion. I just think it's quite an overrated game. Far Cry 5, another game, of course, which I'm going to love. I'm going to stick it in amazing straight away, because I did really enjoy this game. Again, I don't think it was a masterpiece, but I do think it was an amazing game. I actually have, if you haven't seen it, bear with me, statue of the father, who is the main, the bad guy in Far Cry 5, basically. So I got the special edition of it, and it's just so cool. Just look at him. He's such a creepy bastard. I absolutely love him. But yeah, with Far Cry 5, I think it was absolutely excellent. The storyline was decent as well. It was sort of a modern day problems type thing, and people being brainwashed by certain things, and I won't go too far into it, but I just think the character, the way it was written, and the voice acting was absolutely brilliant in it as well. And I liked how, of course, it is an open world, but it's one of those where, for the story, it isn't just so linear. You don't need to, you don't have this open world to explore, but you can only go one way. You could go in any direction the second you start the game, and you can create your own adventure, and it'll be unique from everybody else's. And that's why I liked this game very much as well. So yeah, Far Cry 5, that'll go in amazing. Now, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Now, there isn't one bad thing I can say about this game, and it is going to go in masterpiece. But for me, Breath of the Wild is probably the best game I have ever played. and that's no joke, no word of a lie. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I was quite late to it, because I didn't get a Switch until a good 2 or 3 years, until after it came out, a couple of years. And Breath of the Wild was obviously a game that I was always been interested in, but I just thought I don't really feel the need to buy a whole new console just to play Breath of the Wild. And I played it, and I have put in so many hours into that game, and that is the absolute definition of open world. Any way you can see, from any distance, if you can see a mountain in the distance, you can get to it. You can climb it. You can climb things. You know, you really need to have, there's some puzzles in which, there's a lot of trial and error with certain things. And it's just such an amazingly fun game, and it keeps you hooked, and you can play it for hours and hours and hours on end, and it does keep me hooked. It keeps my attention. It's a brilliantly fun game. The storyline's decent in itself, but they've just taken open world games to a new level in this. You could get to anywhere, do anything you want, experiment with certain things, and yeah, it is an absolute masterpiece of a game. Crash Bandicoot. Now, for me, I do think it's a good game. But I am only going to put it in decent, which is probably going to send everyone absolutely insane, because when I played Crash Bandicoot when I was younger, originally, on the PS1, and, don't get me wrong, it was a time killer. I quite enjoyed it, but I don't know how it sort of lived up to sort of legend status. I never even completed it fully. I think I probably got to about halfway through, and that was it, because I only ever played it when I was a bit bored. It was just one of those that didn't really keep my attention. It was a fun game. I won't say it's overrated, because I know people do say it's amazing, but I can more than see why. Because I did actually enjoy it myself. I really enjoyed it. It weren't one of those where everyone else is saying it's brilliant, but I don't think it's very good, because I do think it was okay. So I'll put that in decent, which will probably annoy some people, but there you go. Fortnite, the death of gaming. Fortnite, for me, it has to go in overrated. It has to go in over. I'm not going to say it's terrible and it's shit. I've only played it a handful of times, but, I could see the appeal, like I say, but how it's got as big as it has, for me, I don't know. I don't know, and it's just brought out all these frigging dance moves and shit that are just so painful. So painful, because people are doing it in real life. It's just killing me. No, but seriously, it's a very overrated game, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you will agree. Next up, 007 Goldeneye for the N64. Another excellent game of its time anyway. I mean, the graphics certainly don't hold up in this day and age, but for me, it was an amazing game at the time. I won't say masterpiece, but it was absolutely fantastic. I used to play it with my brother Sam all the time in the N64, and it was such a brilliant multiplayer game as well. The storyline was great. It was just the GoldenEye sort of film storyline, but the multiplayer for me was absolutely excellent, and it was just one of those that were, you'd sit up with a mate or with family, my brother, for example. We'd just sit up all night playing that game, and it really was brilliant. Probably the first multiplayer game really I played, other than Mario Kart and stuff like that. And yeah, it was really, really fun. And next up we have Wii Sports, which must have been put in as a joke, but that will definitely be going in absolutely terrible, like really bad shit. Well, to be fair, don't get me wrong, when the Wii first came out, it was revolutionary, wasn't it? When the Nintendo Wii first came out, and it was sort of like the controls and motion controls and stuff, we'd never seen it before, and everyone was absolutely enthralled. Everyone thought it was amazing. It was the next best thing. And that got boring very, very quickly. And don't get me wrong, I was amazed when I was playing tennis just by doing this. And I think a lot of people noticed that that's all you're doing. You just sat there doing this, which is a little bit boring. It was quite fun at the time, but I think, in fact, right, okay, I take it back. I'm going to put it in decent. Because I'm thinking back to times playing it now. When it first came out, it was decent. Whoever's put that on there as their favourite game of all time, though, you're a liar. Now, FIFA 19, I probably have to be careful what I say here, because the channel is based on FIFA, but for me, FIFA 19 itself, I'm only going to put in decent, because I feel like the gameplay was decent enough, but they just didn't add enough to what I personally like, and that is career mode. So hopefully FIFA 20 will be up there in masterpiece if they had a load of new things, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Gameplay was good enough, but for what I play it for, which is career mode, they didn't do anything really to it. So for me, FIFA 19 will go into decent. Now, this is going to be a big one that more than likely is going to piss people off. Modern Warfare 2 for me, I'm going to stick an amazing game. But for me, this is what I'm going to go on about. Call of Duty, basically, Modern Warfare 2 is the last Call of Duty that I have played. And that came out in 2009, I think. Well, I say played, but I dabbled in the rest, but I think the shit. Honestly, and that's just me. And I know loads and loads and millions of people love him. But for me, I think it's because of my taste. I prefer sort of old school like guns and more realistic. And no Modern Warfare like 1 and 2. They added little bits and pieces, little extras that aren't quite as realistic. But nowadays, I was playing it the other month with someone, and I just thought, why am I hovering around? Why am I running across walls? This isn't war. Do you know what I mean? It's just become something that I don't think it is. I think it's just strayed a bit too far from its roots. Is it fun? Yeah, it probably is, but it just isn't my cup of tea when it comes to a sort of a war game, like an army type game. Do you know what I mean? And for me, it just isn't what it is. But for Modern Warfare 2 specifically, yeah, that was a good game. That was a really good game, and I did enjoy it. So yeah, I hope you don't dislike the video because I said that about Call of Duty. But next up, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. If you didn't know, I'm a massive, massive Pokemon nerd. And I think Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver are the best Pokemon games so far. They are absolute perfection for a Pokemon game. They just added, obviously Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Gold. They were brilliant games at the time, the second generation of Pokemon games. Obviously Red and Blue were really good, then it come to Gold and Silver, and they added little bits to the game that they hadn't in Red and Blue, and it was amazing, and for me that was a perfect game. I think they strayed a little bit in certain games, but Heart Gold and Soul Silver was basically just Silver or Gold and Silver, but just revamped, improved graphics. Your Pokemon are in the overworld and they're following you around, and it's a fantastic, fantastic game. It really is. I've played every single Pokemon game there is to play. I'll just show you a few of them that I have got. Every Nintendo 3DS game I own is Pokemon. Pokemon, 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 Pokemon! I've also got Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee for the Nintendo Switch. I don't know why I'm throwing things, but I'm doing it. I'm getting used to it. But yeah, it's a really good game. Spyro is another old classic, isn't it? I'll stick it in amazing. I do think it was a really good game. Really, really enjoyed it when I was younger. I'm not too sure whether I played all of them. I don't think I did when I was younger. I think I might have only played the first one, but I did really enjoy that one. So yeah, I'll put it in amazing. Very good game. Super Mario 64, the N64. Now that is definitely a masterpiece. It was just another one of those games that we've never seen anything like it before. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. I think you can get it for 3DS now. I'm pretty sure, although it's not anywhere near as good as the N64 version. I know it's been tweaked a bit for the 3DS, but at the time, it's just amazing. You go through Peach's castle, you go into different worlds, a little bit like BanjoKazooie in a way. How you go into different rooms and you jump through paintings and you're in a different world and you build your way up the castle and eventually fight Bowser for the big finale. It is a brilliant game, very, very good game. And next up we have The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Again, for me, I think it's another masterpiece. Almost every Zelda game for me is a masterpiece because I just think they're so goddamn good. And Majora's Mask, it had such a twist on game in itself because you had a time limit pretty much from the off. Not to the point where it's sort of game breaking where you're going to run out of time too often, but you have a 3-day cycle in which certain events take place. You have to take down bosses and temples and stuff, but there's little ongoing events that are going on throughout these 3 days, and you need to try and remember what you've done to try and make certain things happen. If do something on day 1, which will trigger something to happen on day 3, and you need to remember what you were doing. And it was just a really different concept that we haven't seen before. I think that the music to it was absolutely excellent, and the story itself was excellent as well. And that moon in the game is still giving me nightmares. And now, Football Manager. I think I'll just, rather than say Football Manager 19, I'll just put Football Manager as a whole. For me, I'll put it in amazing, because there's little things in it that I think do need tweaking for me to say masterpiece, but it is an excellent, excellent game, Football Manager. I'm currently playing it, actually, I'm on Nintendo Switch. I picked it up for really cheap the other day, so I've been playing it again. But I do fall in and out of love with Football Manager. When I was younger, I wouldn't leave it alone. It used to be called Championship Manager, in which I used to absolutely smash it. Then Football Manager, I've fell in and out of love. But this one on the Nintendo Switch that I got recently, I've been playing it quite a lot. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So amazing. I will put Football Manager in. I do have Football Manager as well for the laptop, or on my computer. But I don't know. I just got bored of it. But I just thought I'll see what it's like on a console, and I really enjoy having it on my big TV and stuff. So maybe that's just the reason I haven't enjoyed it as much on my laptop. But lastly, the last game, GTA Vice City. I am going to put that in amazing as well, because I do really, that was probably one of my favourite GTAs. Of course, GTA 5 for me, I think it's my favourite out of all of them, but Vice City was excellent. I loved that game. I was absolutely obsessed with that game when it first came out anyway. So yeah, I'm going to stick that in amazing, and that is all of them, guys. That is absolutely all of them. That did take quite a while, didn't it? But what do you guys think? Are you happy with that? Have I pissed you off somehow? But yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Where would you put certain games? Maybe something I haven't put in one column, you put in a different one. Let me know in the comments. But if you have enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me. It'll be always massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already, to become a fully fledged member of the Sassy Army. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.